Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talks breakdown of the NBA play-in games today, as well as our top plays on Prize Picks. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach. It is Wednesday, April the 13th, and I'll tell you what, this is fantastic NBA playoff basketball, and we haven't really even gotten to the main draw of the playoffs. This is still play-in time. We have two solid games tonight, a 7 o'clock game that kicks it off, and then 9:30 right directly after. So we're going to give you a breakdown here, what we're looking at from a DFS perspective. We're also going to share our top two Prize Picks plays for myself, and I have two from Josh Crash Davis to share as well. All right, let's talk about these two games right off the bat. First of all, if you're watching on YouTube, give us that quick thumbs up right at the beginning here. Let's get that over with. That's important to us. Hit that subscribe button and click the little alarm in the upper corner there so you know when any of our podcasts post. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know how you're doing. Let us share and giving you some love for some of your wins. We would be happy to do that. All right. First game, 7 o'clock, Charlotte Hornets, Atlanta Hawks. It's Atlanta minus 5.5, and it's a 236 total. 115.25 implied for Charlotte and 120.75 implied for Atlanta. Yesterday, the lines were pretty close in the two games. Today, not so much. 9.5 points separates the totals. So a little more emphasis on from the DFS standpoint and even Prize Picks for expecting there to be more scoring, more possessions in the Charlotte-Atlanta game with this 236 number. The second game, San Antonio and New Orleans, is 226.5. So we'll just something to take note of, favor on this first game a bit. So again, it's Atlanta by 5.5, same spread as the other game, 5.5. So hopefully they both stay close. We get a true look here because everything in here for the playoffs. I mean, you need to win this game to move on. If you lose, you go in that loser's bracket aspect of things. So this is the real deal here. No messing around. They need to win, and they're going to play their guys if they are able. Speaking of status, Charlotte and Atlanta. Gordon Hayward remains out, so hopefully he'll be back here sometime in the playoffs if they advance. For Atlanta, Brown and the two important ones, especially John Collins, he's out, Brown's out, and Lou Williams is also out. So little depth issues, certainly a huge loss for them not having Collins back. They expected him to be back by now. Couple of things to also point out in this game during the season. Charlotte was 5th in pace, Atlanta 19th. So advantage Atlanta playing a pace up team here. And Charlotte slowed down a little bit toward the end of the year. They played super fast all year long. Neither team played good defense, 22nd and 26th respectively. So certainly a game that you can attack and some positions you can attack. In examining and slicing and dicing this game up from a defensive real plus minus perspective, which I like to look at, the things that stood out to me is top 10% in DRPM for Atlanta was Capella. So even though he's getting older, his role has lessened a bit with a Kongu off the bench, but he's still a top 10% defensive real plus minus guy. So certainly a little bit better interior D against the likes of Mason Plumlee and Montrezl Harrell, PJ Washington, those guys that do get some stuff done on the interior. From the only guys from the Charlotte side, which they did have two though, it was Miles Bridges and Terry Rozier. We've attacked Charlotte all year long, but those two in particular have actually played decent defense. Where they really, really struggle is the rest of the squad. LaMelo Ball, very low ranked. Also, PJ Washington, Kelly Oubre, horrible off the bench defensively. So even Cody Martin was just average. So really it's any avoidance at all to anybody would be Rozier and Bridges on the Charlotte side, and then Capella on the Atlanta side, but not complete shutdown guys, but guys we can somewhat avoid. So let's look at this situation here. Where do we attack this game? We certainly want a lot of exposure in this first game. My favorite play of the day of both games is Trey Young. I love Trey today. He's 10.6, well worth it. He's going to lead this game in points, probably in assists as well. I mean, he's just a fantasy scoring machine. I think that I will start every lineup, both cash and GPP, with Trey Young. Secondary for Atlanta, I may look more of a value type play, either with a Bogdanovich who's down to 5.7 now, which is much more realistic. DeAndre Hunter at 4.3, Kevin Huerter at 4.9, and then maybe Gallinari's the play here as far as value. He's 5.2, which isn't a giveaway, but he has absorbed most of those John Collins minutes. He has a higher floor or higher ceiling than most of these guys, but somewhat of a lower floor at times. So it isn't without risk in dialing up Danilo. But I do think, he would be my second choice to Trey on this side. You can consider Capella at 6.9. And again, Bogdanovich at 5.7 price definitely makes him playable. From the Charlotte side, you really have multiple positions here you can look at. LaMelo Ball at 9.7 if you want to play the Trey Young versus LaMelo Ball duel. I think, LaMelo, when he's gotten big minutes, generally always provides the punch. It's when he either gets in foul trouble or, they sit him in chunks of time that he doesn't come through. But it's not going to happen in this play-in tournament where Charlotte really needs to win the game. So I think Ball is a terrific play. He's my favorite play on that side of the ball, if you will, for Charlotte. 9.7 is a decent price, though, but you're going to probably get what you pay for. If you want to save a bunch, almost 3K, you can go to Terry Rozier at 6.8. He certainly has had some really strong games in the playoffs in the past when he was with Boston. If you remember that run that he went on when they first called him Scary Terry, it was back when Isaiah Thomas got hurt. And so Rozier has shown in the past that he wakes up in playoff games. And that really, recency, in my opinion, because it's been in the last 5 years of a guy that can step up in the playoffs, really makes Rozier very interesting for me. I've been playing Miles Bridges a lot this year. I don't think he's a bad play at all. It's 7.1. I'm very tempted to stick with him. I hate to pull the plug on Miles Bridges, after going with him so consistently. And I do think his price is good. I mean, he was up in the 8K numbers there. So 7.1, very, very fair for him. After that, I don't really want the Plumlee-Harrell split. I know there's potential there, but we also talked about Capella's defense. PJ Washington certainly is a good GPP play. He can have big games. Gallinari is not a good defender. So at 5.1, you could even go with the going against each other. PJ 5.1, Gallo at 5.2, both very fair prices for guys that should get really heavy minutes and be able to produce to those numbers fairly easily. So a lot to like here. Certainly going to have good 5 guys out of this game in this 2-game slate, and we'll look to move on from there. All right, in game 2, the 9:30 game. Before we dive into that real quickly, perfect time to go join Coach Talk. Check us out for 3 days, $10. You're in there. You see everything that we've got. We lay it all out there. We've got a great tutorial on bankroll management and contest selection, which is more important than picking your lineups. So if you want to check that out, come in. Also, anybody that's a member, I offer a one-on-one as part of your membership with me to go through how you're selecting your contests, what you're playing, what sites, all of that stuff to really tighten everything up, because it's very competitive in DFS and you need all of those tools in place in order to consistently be successful. And that's what we want here at Coach Talks. We want at Coach Talk for our members to have a sustainable, steady growth in their bankroll for DFS. And we feel we really have the magic bullet, if you will, to share with everybody to get to that point. So we'd love to have you join us. Check us out, dfscoachtalk.com. If you want to look at us on Twitter, we're at DFS Coach Talk. If you're checking out Crash, he's at JP Davis 1982, and I am at Joe Sarvati. All right, game 2, 9:30. It is the San Antonio Spurs and the New Orleans Pelicans. New Orleans favored by 5.5, 226.5 total, 110.5 implied for the Spurs, 116 flat for the Pels. Injury-wise, Langford probable, and Doug McDermott only guy out for San Antonio. For the Pelicans, Brandon Ingram's listed as probable. I've read he's going to play, so he is in. Only our buddy Cheeseburgers Williamson not in for the playoffs right now. Maybe if the Pels advance, we could have a Zion sighting, which would be wonderful. All right, statistically here, let's take a look at a few things as well. We've got San Antonio with the 4th best pace. The Pelicans only 21st. So big plus for the Pels guys with the monster pace up. Defense has been below average here, but not as bad, certainly, as the Charlotte-Atlanta game. They are 16th and 20th, respectively. As far as standout defenders here, you've got a couple. You've only got, you have Pirtle and Murray for the Spurs. Those two have solidified some things. Now, I will say, even though Pirtle's DRPM is decent, he really has fallen off the second half, and people have been attacking the center position against the Spurs now for quite some time. So Pirtle's numbers may reflect he's a little bit better at that position defensively than he was before, but, that may not be the case here as the season wound down. So something to keep an eye on there. DeJounte Murray is a good defender. He's going to get you a bunch of stocks. He can be very crafty defensively, and I think he will draw CJ McCollum. So will be a little bit of a test for CJ. On the Pelican side, they have two guys that have also shown in the top 10% of DRPM for the season, and that is Jonas Valachinis, who had a better defensive year than he's had in the past. He's been pretty stout in the paint. He does struggle at times to get out to defend the three and get away from the basket. But when he's able to, wheel around the paint, he's pretty solid. The only negative thing defensively with him is he gets in foul trouble. And that can really sting you if you're counting on him to get it done. If he doesn't get in foul trouble, he could be a slate breaker kind of guy. So definitely very tempting there. The other is Herb Jones. He's a rookie. He's drawn the best player from the other team every game for the Pelicans. So talk about baptism by fire. He has had a very fine season. He's handled it okay offensively. And then defensively, like I say, he can guard really 1, 2, 3, 4 somewhat effectively. And he's had to do that during the season. So those are some guys we can ignore a little bit. A lot of other gaping holes defensively for both of these teams. So we can talk about that as well. All right, plays here. Obviously, the two that will be the most popular, and it won't even be close from this game, is DeJounte Murray at 10-8 and CJ McCollum at 9. Both deserve it. I think they're both good plays. You've got to make decisions, though. For me, I personally like Young a little bit better than Murray, and that'll probably won't be as popular. I think Murray could be the highest owned person on the slate. It's very possible. At 10-8, it's not a bad price. He's certainly played to that. He fills the score sheet, from side to side. So he's a strong play. Certainly would love to try to fit him in there. If I can make Trey Young, DeJounte Murray lineup work, that would be terrific. CJ at 9K, I think he's been great. The thing is, when McCollum's is in there with Ingram, they do have a tendency to pull a little bit of usage, total shots, just the percentage they're involved in the offense reduces, assist ratio, everything is a little bit lower when they're both on the floor together. So that, plus the DeJounte Murray defense makes McCollum, who I've played consistently, not my top pick here. Ingram, I think, is healthy. I think he's okay. People may be afraid because he's had that designation. He missed some games on and off at the end of the year. I think he's a good play, though. I think at 8-3, that's super fair price for him. He could be the top scorer in this game very easily. When he gets hot, he is very tough to stop. If you want to go a little bit cheaper with Herb Jones or Jackson Hayes at 4-5 and 5K, Jackson has had some very good games here down the stretch. He's going to make a lot of my lineups. Joe Val, as I mentioned, it's a thing against the Spurs center of late, but Joe Val's an expensive 8-6. So this is where decisions have to be made. Where are you going to, balance that salary? Now, he's certainly a good play. Don't know if I'm going to pull the plug there. You can save 2K if you think Jakob Poeltl's going to get it done on the other side. He's a very inexpensive 6-6. And they haven't played him super extended minutes, the way Pop does things down the stretch. But I think they play him. They need him in there. And if he stays out of foul trouble at 6-6, it could be a great value in this game. After Murray, it's a real toss-up. You're going to have a lot of people go to Keldon Johnson because he finished the season strong, and he's at a very affordable 7K. That would, make sense. I have a tendency not to hit rate on him when I play him. He can have some really bad floor games. So the question is, do you feel he's going to be able to get it done here? He may draw Herb Jones too. I'm interested to see what the matchup's going to look like here. And we're going to keep an eye on that, Coach Speak and Beat Writer Info, to get the matchups solidified before the tip. Vassell at 6K, understandable. The youngster Josh Primo at 3-4, but you have quite a rotation here. Pop can use Josh Richardson, Lonnie Walker, Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Keita Bates-Diop. Jock Landale's gotten good minutes at the big off the bench. So they're going to go still fairly deep. So I'm not going to load up heavy on the Spurs side. I think the fact that the Pels are in a pace-up game, I'd prefer to go with the extra bodies on the Pels side. All right, that is the DFS breakdown. Let me give you our top 2 plays from Crash and my top 2 plays in Prizepicks NBA here for this Wednesday, April the 13th. The second choice for Mr. Crash is CJ McCollum over 25.5 real points. That is his second favorite pick. His top pick is Trey Young over 30.5 real points. So he's taken 2 strong guards, taking their points straight up, 25.5 for CJ, 30.5 for Trey Young. My top 2 picks, some similarity here. My second favorite pick is Trey Young, 52 over 52 fantasy score. That is my second top play. So we're both on Trey Young. And my top play is DeJounte Murray, 23.5 points, real points. He's, when he gets going, I think he's going to be a monster. I think he's a great play here if you can afford him DFS wise. But I think just because he's such an important piece to the San Antonio team, if they're going to beat the Pelicans, he's going to have a huge game. I mean, it's 2 studs, McCollum and Ingram, against 1 stud, Murray, really is what it comes down to. So I think I have him at 27 real points, which is a lot, but it crushes that 23.5. So DeJounte Murray is my top play, 25.5 real points. All right, my friends, that is it. That gives you your breakdown of the game, gives you a good look at what we're looking at from a DFS standpoint and also from our prize picks. Now, we will be giving out full lineups for FanDuel and Yahoo to our members, and also a core 5 for cash and GPP on DraftKings. And then also, check us out for what our baseball, which we'll be putting out there today for 2 slates. And then we also have our golf pod and picks coming up later for this week's tournament. If you want to check out all of it, we give out several other prize picks plays closer to lock for all our sports. You want to just go to DFS Coach Talk. That's Daily Fantasy Sports, dfscoachtalk.com. You can sign up there for several of our memberships. We have some fantastic deals, or if you want to just dip your toes in the water, little 3-day pass for $10. You catch all the action today, Thursday, and Friday, all of our lineups in all 3 of those sports. All right. Thank you so much for listening in. Love to hear from you. Give us some feedback. Give us that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. That means a lot to us. It helps us move up that algorithm on YouTube. If you're listening to us in any of our audio podcast landing spots, we do have a 1-week free pass that we give away at the end of each month. All you have to do is give us a 5-star rating, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to us. Give us a quick 5-star rating and a quick comment. We'll be pulling those at the end of the month and having a drawing for an all-access free 1-week membership to Coach Talk. All right, everyone. Appreciate it. Looking to really, really crush it here. Check out our baseball and our golf podcast coming out later today. And then tomorrow, there's no basketball. We sit chilly here for everything, to settle in for the Friday games, which will be the final play-in games for the play-in tournament. And then Saturday, everything begins for real with 8 teams in both conferences going at it in series. And we won't have any days off then for quite some time with the NBA. So let's crush today and enjoy tomorrow. And then we'll get on this huge run starting on Friday as well. All right. Thank you very much. Check us out. We'd love to have you. Have a fantastic day. We'll be back again to look to crush it again in NBA DFS and prize picks.